Hey, so I just saw that there's a new tuning pass coming through. I guess this would be like the first of all the major tuning passes for this patch. So I just wanted to quickly go through and just look at just healer specific stuff and just give a first impressions. I'm not huge on the theory crafting side of things or kind of figuring out all the numbers and all that stuff and number crunching everything. I usually just kind of wait till smarter people than me figure it out and then go off of that, and I just play the game. But I thought people, do ask for my opinion and stuff from time to time, so I thought we would just kind of react to it basically together in a way. And then I'll probably end up streaming, so if you're watching this video pretty soon after it comes out, I'm probably live over on Twitch, so come say hey. Okay, so first up, it looks like we're going to have Pres Evoker somewhere in here. So we have Preservation right here. I'll just highlight it. Let's see. Bar tier set was too strong, so we're reducing the tier set's effectiveness. I'm guessing this means that people were wearing their 4-piece of the Season 1 tier set and not switching to the Season 2 tier set. Preservation Evoker, yep, reduce the healing. Healing of all spells and abilities increased by 5%, so just a flat buff. Spirit Bloom healing increased by 20%. This usually means if there's enough buffs to Spirit Bloom, which 20% is quite a bit, then some people like to do the whole Bloom build that was going on when Evoker first came out. So we'll see if that makes a comeback, because I already know that in Season 2 there was talks of it kind of being viable or being a thing, so we'll see. Energizing Flame refunds 80% of the mana cost of Living Flame. Just a little bit extra mana for free when you're using damage spells. Disintegrate damage increased by 25%. This is much needed, because if you don't take basically every single talent to buff Disintegrate, you'd never cast it because it's not worth it, even in single target. So like in Season 1 of this expansion, it was very common when you were playing Pres Evoker to just spam Living Flame over and over and over and just press Fire Breath, and you basically never press any other buttons. You don't use Azure Strike, you don't use anything. Living Flame damage increased by 25%. This is good because there's a damage buff, but this means that the Disintegrate damage thing still kind of persists, because now they just equal each other out. So, we'll have to see how that kind of plays out if people end up taking because I know they rework some of the talent trees, so maybe Disintegrate's easier to take anyways now, like the talents that buff it. But yeah, overall just flat buffs for Pres. So I think that's good, because right now they are in a pretty lackluster spot, and I've been enjoying playing mine a lot. Monk, Mistweaver. We're decreasing Mistweaver's overall damage. Yeah, that makes sense, because in Race to World First, you just stacked Mistweavers just to do single target damage to the boss, because they were just out DPSing every other healer by miles, while leaving their healing relatively unchanged. Spinning Crane Kick has felt a touch weaker than we would like compared to the rest of the Mistweaver kit, so we're increasing the damage of Spinning Crane Kick alongside these changes. All damage decreased by 25%. Fire Teachings now increases Ancient Teachings transfer by an amount by 15%, was 160. And then Spinning Crane, I guess Jadefire Teachings, this means that you're going to transfer more sooner, so you won't be able to press as many abilities within the window, but I could be mistaken on what this actually means, so I'm just going to basically leave that alone. Spinning Crane Kick damage increased. Awakened Jadefire now transfers 120% of the damage done, was 110. Oh. So basically just a little bit of a damage nerf, doesn't really affect too much. I think they were way too far ahead for being a passive damage dealer. Like, honestly, the healers that should do the most damage are the ones who have to stop healing in order to do damage. But when we have metas like this, where like Disc Priests and Mistweaver Monks do the most damage just passively, I think it doesn't really make that much sense. I mean, I don't know. I like when healers have to decide between doing damage or healing, and if they get to do both at the same time, it should be, they shouldn't be able to go all out on damage. Like, they shouldn't be able to basically keep up with the other healers. Holy Paladin. Just highlight this real quick. Holy Paladin's throughput has been below our targets, so we're combining an overall buff with targeted increases to a few spells we would like to feel particularly more impactful. All healing increased by 3%. Awesome. Word of Glory and Eternal Flame healing increased by 20%. That's a lot, so that's really, really nice, especially for like spot healing and raid. And then obviously in Mythic Plus, this is huge. Light of Dawn healing increased by 20%. Holy Prism AoE healing and damage increased. I really like this because it doesn't really feel that impactful. Usually what you press Holy Prism for is just the buff you get to Eternal Flame if you're running the Dawnlight hero talent and stuff. I think that's Herald of the Sun. But other than that, Holy Prism itself doesn't feel like it's doing very much. So this will at least help it get a little bit more of like a initial impact when you press the button. And the single target healing and damage increased by 50%. This is awesome. Shield of the Righteous damage increased by 30%. Take it off the GCD again, please. It feels awful. Alright, now we have Priest. So we'll go over Holy Priest first. This is a lot. Our aim with this Holy Priest tuning is to increase the healing from weaker spells and talents. We're also tuning up Oracle to improve its viability. Okay, so now you're going to be pretty much probably playing Oracle. I can already guess because I think Oracle is already like halfway viable. Prayer of Healing increased by 25%. Prayer of Mending increased. Renew healing increased. It's interesting because you don't... Oh, I guess you get renews off of your Prayer of Mending, so it doesn't really matter. I wonder if Prayer of Healing now we're going to actually take that in Raid, because right now you don't even take it in Raid. It feels awful. Lightwell healing increased. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if we're going to switch to that build again, where you do like the more cooldown focused build. Divine Image healing increased. Divine Image damage increased. I like this a lot. Holy Fire damage increased. I like this as well, because Holy Priest usually is one of the healers that can do the most amount of damage compared to all the healers in single target, specifically in single target, which I think should be their niche. I think it's really cool when, again, healers can choose between doing damage or healing versus not being able to just do it all at once. I think it's fine to have healers like that, and it's important, but the healers who have to make a decision should be able to do more damage. And I think this kind of helps with that, especially by buffing stuff like Holy Fire and Divine Image, because that's all single target stuff. Renewed Faith now increases healing done to allies with Renew by 10%, was 6. Awesome. So that's basically a 4% healing buff in most cases. Renews from Empowered Renew now heal for 120% more than a normal Renew, was 60. That's insane. Oracle Preemptive Care now increases the duration of Renew by more, and Preventive Measures now increases the healing of Prayer of Mending by almost double, and now increases the damage of Smite, Holy Fire, and Holy Nova by 40%. This is also awesome. Cool. So overall, just big buffs, and especially to a lot of single target abilities in damage. So I think that'll benefit them a lot. Basically, the healing buffs will help a lot in Raid, not necessarily in Mythic Plus as much. And then in Raid, it's just going to help overall. And then their single target damage is going to go up a lot, which should help in things like M+ and stuff. And then we have Discipline, very, very small changes, so it looks like they're going to remain pretty much untouched. Lenience now causes Atonement to reduce damage taken by 2%, was 3. Okay, that's fine, that's not the end of the world, but it does basically... This pretty much just is like an M+ nerf, so I think they're trying to kind of lean them down towards, you know, beneath Resto Druid and Mistweaver Monk right now. We'll see how that plays out, because right now Mistweaver might only be being taken to keys for their damage and their healing checks, where Resto Druids are specifically taken to keys because they can meet healing checks so easily as a healer all the time. And people are worried that Dispriest isn't going to be able to do that, and by reducing damage taken by 1%, it's not that noticeable, but it will be noticeable in like the highest levels of keys. Like it will make it that much more noticeable. And let's see. Oh, sorry, I dropped my phone. Atonement now causes spell damage to heal all targets affected by Atonement for 32% of damage done, was 35. So if I'm reading this correctly, it's just Atonement healing is nerfed by 3% is the idea. Yeah. Okay, so less healing as well. So again, this is just an overall nerf, but I think these will be interesting to see how people react to these in Mythic Plus specifically, because that's where people are really keeping an eye on Disc right now. And then next we have Resto Shaman. Undermine 2-set bonus. Fixed an issue that caused Totemic Projection to apply insurance while using Surging Totem. That's pretty funny. And 2-set bonus insurance healing increased by 30%. Cool. So just a very small buff to Resto Shamans with their 2-piece. while also fixing it, because I'm guessing that they're buffing it just to make up for this bug kind of seeming like it's part of their output, but it actually wasn't. So they're getting this removed, and then this increased. So then it will just kind of cancel each other out in a sense. It's probably a little bit less, obviously. Okay, and I think that is it. So no, did we miss, what was the other healer? Because right now people are keeping an eye on Resto Druid, and we didn't get any Resto Druid changes. So Resto Druid is untouched. Mistweaver's getting a small damage, or quite a large damage nerf, and then Disc Priest is getting a small healing nerf. So that keeps Druid in the running for being, I think, probably the strongest healer in M+ at the moment, but we'll kind of see how that plays out over time. Hope you like this video. If you like stuff like this, let me know. I'm happy to do these. It's not really my forte or my expertise or anything like that, but if you guys like to hear me talk about it or read it out loud so that you don't have to, then let me know so I can make more of these when these come out, and I'll keep a better eye on the Wowhead post. Alright, see you guys later.